Show me a dry one.
So that's
Is
my
that
car.
literally your car?
That's literally my car.
Zach, can we see one where we could see the rest of it?
Yeah, so that's my car.
Actually, this is fun. Now that we can see
better
it
now.
Yeah.
You have a little
Dude, that car's
windshield.
ruined.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just new
It just
windshield.
needs a
and we're
windshield,
good to go.
Kyle.
Yeah. So
Okay,
this car. Yeah.
So I have questions, lots of them,
Yeah.
because unfortunately I didn't have time to catch up on your content, but I do plan to now because you've gone so deep into this. I'll have to binge. So you're trying to make it just as it should have been. You're trying to replace everything and make everything work, or are you just trying to get this thing to go?
Oh no, we're trying to make it the fastest McLaren in the world.
You can outrun the mildew
That's the
smell.
reaction. That's the reaction that everybody gives you.
This is the plot
on land or water,
man.
Yeah,
Yes, we have the technology. We could rebuild
the fastest seafaring vessel. Yes. No. So we right now the fastest McLaren in the world is the McLaren Speedtail, and it's meant for top speed. And I always thought that this car should be the spiritual successor to the McLaren F1, like the supercar in the 90s, the fastest car in the world. It did like 240 something miles an hour. I think that we could make this car the fastest by a significant margin. So like doing the math on what we're planning to do on this car, we'll hopefully get to 260, 270 miles an hour. Now, that's the McLaren F1. That is the fastest car in the 90s, and it held that title for like a decade. Naturally aspirated V12, very, very lightweight. It had about 600 horsepower, 600 something horsepower. And it was, it was a world beater. And now that car is about $20 million. So I can't really afford it.
How fast do the fastest production cars go now?
That's interesting. So the fastest, when you talk about the fastest, like the record, you have to do it forwards and backwards. So it's like a Guinness Book of World Records thing.
Oh yeah.
So if you do forwards and backwards, the fastest now is, I believe, in between the Koenigsegg Agera RS at like 277 miles an hour. Or the SSC Tuatara. See, the SSC Tuatara is like this very, very bespoke car. I think they have like one of them, and they plan to, build more of them. And theoretically, it should have gone more than 300, but they never got that far because you start running out of road real quick. But I didn't want to be the fastest car in the world. I want to be the fastest McLaren. So the fastest McLaren right now is 250. I think we can beat that. But even then, that's an insane speed. Like I've never even been 200 miles an hour.
Very dangerous. Are you going to drive it to break the record?
No.
You're going to hire someone to.
Yes. So the person that I got to drive it is Ben Collins, who was Top Gear's former Stig. And
that's sweet.
Like we became friends in the last year. And he's one of the nicest guys in the world. And I was like, hey, do you want to drive a McLaren like really stupid fast? And a car that I put together. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. He's one of these, let's just send it dudes. So I like that about him. But I don't think I'd know what to look out for when the car's doing 250. It's like, is that a bad noise? Is that it's sort of like, your transmission exploding. It's like, is that a bad grinding or a good grinding,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
just pushing it to the limit.
Where do you go
the Stig would know.
So where do you do that drive at?
So we can rent out. The good thing about it is me, being in Florida, I'm really close to Cape Canaveral, and Cape Canaveral has the shuttle landing strip, which is it's a 3 mile long arrow straight, and they can rent it out to people. It's expensive, but they can rent it out to people.
Is 3 miles enough?
It should be. I mean, there have been some speed records set there. So I mean, it's 3 miles, so it's like 2 end to end, but then you have to have a braking zone. You really have to have something that has a ton of power.
You need a fucking parachute, bro.
The brakes on this thing are pretty good. Yeah.
Cool. I would hope so. Well, that sounds ridiculous. So how much, remind us, how much did you pay for the waterlogged $2 million car?
Yes. Maybe? So I got it at a really deep discount.
A steal.
So so I paid $575,000. Now I didn't have that
basically
kind of money.
Free.
It's basically, I'd be stupid not to get it. I didn't have that kind of money. So I asked one of my friends that, has some money. Do you know anybody that would be dumb enough to loan me $500,000? And he said yes. So apparently he started banks for fun. And then he was like, hey, I have this bank that is like, totally about it. And, they'll give you the money and whatever. And I'm like, okay. So I give an application, and in 3 days I had the money. And I'm like, it was nuts. It was like, it's right.
So when you
this bank's
deposit,
business model.
So when you deposit,
YouTubers and flood cars.
Welcome to Rad Central Bank, like where we only care about shredding and totally gnar shit. Don't even talk to me about money, bro. How fast are you gonna get in that thing?
They're all in like eyes on shirts.
Uh-huh.
So when you deposit like $500,000 into your account, is there a little bit of you that says, man, I should just disappear?
Yeah. I thought about that. I'm like, if I was a bad person, like this would be easy. Like this would, oh my God, we could do this to multiple banks. I could be a bank robber, and we'll just go to a country that doesn't care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
How many rad banks are there though? Like
there's at least one. There's at least one.
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, you can't try this shit at like Deutsche.
Dude, I'm shocked at the price. It's still high. How much will you have into this car repaired? 1.5?
So the good thing about YouTube is that you can get a lot of stuff sponsored, and you get breaks on everything. But realistically, if I have like $1 million into it, I think that'll probably be a decent number. Now they've been trading, like a good one has been trading for like in between 1.2 and 1.6. And I think they're going to go up because, these cars are super, super rare. They only made 375 of them for the world. And I think they're due to go up. But, mine is one can say priceless and and another can say worthless. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that, but you pre-answered it. Like, I don't know if yours being the fastest is going to be a good one or not. I don't even know.
So I think so. I never care about resale value because for me, it's all about the story. Mm-hmm. I just care that I am, everyone saw that car die on social media. They saw the thing, float down the street and for me to even take on the project, I think it's worthwhile, whether I lose money or not. But just having some hand in that car's story is worth it enough for me.
My man here doesn't care about $1.5 million.
Yeah, I mean, like,
congratulations, bro.
No,
it's a loan, Woody, and the bank said, "Shaka, brah."
It's not my money. I don't care.
Exactly. It's Shaka Bank of Milwaukee. I mean, I can see where maybe you just wouldn't care at that point, but it looks like it's going to work out and be profitable in the end, right? Like, I feel like you're going to turn this around one way or another, sponsorships and everything aside, and make it profitable for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you count,
because at the end of it, you have that $1 million car.
Yeah, and it's something that for me, the knowledge of going through it on my own, it means a lot to me, and that carries a value with it as well. So there's nothing on this car that scares me. I never have to take this car to the dealer. There's nothing on this car that I can't fix in my shop. So like. Mm-hmm. Having that knowledge is also, worth something to me.
What was the biggest issue with it? Was it the smell?
So the fact that we cleaned it probably 20 or so times and there's still sand in it. There was a good, and I'm not joking, like 300 to 400 pounds of sand in that car. It's like every nook and cranny, it just had sand and salt everywhere. I mean, the biggest issue really is wiring because it's really electronically complex. So what we're doing now is I have all the wires. I have the entire wiring harness out of the car. And then we have 2 donor wiring harnesses because you can't really get this wiring harness from the dealership, from the manufacturer, because it takes like a year to get. It's $20,000. It's a lot of money, but like for that car, it's actually not that bad. But like to get that, I just don't have that kind of time. So we have 2 donor harnesses from similar McLarens, and we are trying to splice, not splice, but we're making our own wiring harnesses and trying to put them together.
Wait. Did you say you had 2 other McLarens that were donors?
No. So we have 2 donor wiring harnesses. But I do have another McLaren that we of course, we're not using it as a donor. But that was another rebuild that I did.
So for those who don't know, the wiring harness is it's all the wires. It's all the wires in this big fucking bundle of wires. And at the end, they fucking turn into it. And in a car like this, and I'm talking about on a Chevrolet fucking 350, it's a lot of wires. Those are $1,000, by the way.
Yeah.
On this thing, it's gotta be. Wait, is this a hybrid car or something? Is this?
Yes.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah. So there's also
you've got a battery to contend with.
Yeah. So the thing is, I also decided to take out the hybrid drive assembly because it's old technology. It's super heavy. It's like 400 pounds. And there was a real big battery fire, but like the compartment, it held it pretty well. So like when the car went in the water, things were shorting and it was like big mad. So when no, it was bad. So when we took
that's
out
what
the
his
battery,
banker said.
We have a master technician.
Absolutely, this thing was big mad.
Yeah, I just thought your car had been flooded. I didn't know it had caught on fire as well.
Yeah. Then your loan officer kick flipped into the room and was like, "I'm here to save you."
Turns the chair around. Hey kids, let me rap at you.
He said, "Stop being pussies."
No, but it was pretty crazy. So we took out the battery, and in order, let me give you some numbers here. If I were to get a new battery from McLaren, they have like an upgraded battery, like a version 2 or 3 battery for this car. If I were to get it brand new, it's $160,000. Now, they don't have those batteries available. Like they don't have them. It's like a theoretical thing that they might have in 6 months or a year or whatever. And then I'd have to install it and hope that everything else works, like the e-motor and the hybrid drive assembly and all that stuff, which it probably doesn't. So I figured I can just delete all that, have the world's first non-hybrid McLaren P1. It'll be lighter. We'll put way more power into the engine. Like we're effectively doubling the horsepower of the engine. So I have a built motor going into this. The original engine is a 3.8 V8 with twin turbos. I upgraded the turbos. They're way bigger now. I have a 4-liter with built internals, so everyth's 4.
What kind of 4-liter?
So it's the 4-liter from McLaren. It's a McLaren 4-liter. It's just more stroke, and it'll be putting out something about like 1,400 horsepower. So with that power to weight ratio, it should get to 260 no problem.
Jeez.
What are you? I guess it did have that 400-pound battery back there, and now it doesn't. So does that change how the car brakes and handles, maybe the profile at all? Okay.
No, because the battery was right above the fuel tank, which is smack dab in the middle of the car. So you take out that weight, and it's still the coefficient of the center of gravity. It's all the same.
Dude, I have butterflies just hearing about the money getting thrown around. A new battery's like $160,000, but I did it, because it's really about the journey and the fun I'm having along the way.
I went
to the guy who's holding the Shaka Bra bank. Are they all good? Like, do they ever check in with the videos, see how things are going?
No. So I didn't like defraud them or anything.
No, I don't think you did either. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah.
You got your car, they get their payment.
What's crazy is that I told them, like, they knew from the get-go. I said, hey, this is the car. Most of it's underwater in this picture, and I'm buying it. It does not run.
Much like me.
Yeah, exactly. So you're about to be underwater. It's they're totally fine with it. They're awesome. Cheering me on. They're asking me how things are going. They watch the videos. So
are you making payments on a schedule against that $500,000?
Yeah.
Okay. How much is a car payment for a wet McLaren?
That is about six grand a month, something like that.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Took the words out of my mouth.
It's like a mortgage. It's a mortgage on a car. Like it's basically a house that is now floating down the street.
How are you so calm? I'm trying to remind myself I'm the same fucking moron who told Mr. Beast that he needed to be more financially conservative, and he knew what he was doing. So
I don't want to say that I know what I'm doing. But like if you look at my monthly spend, if you want to have a real heart attack, my monthly spend right now is like $85K.
That's a whole lot.
Yeah. So
this is really not
so this has to
a
work.
big thing to you at all.
No, 6K is not really it's a drop in the bucket. And
that's headlights.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I'm not like I wouldn't consider myself like rich by any means, but like it's going.
No. It's just the first $1 million of your income goes towards expenses, but you're not rich or anything. Yeah.
That's
No, I'm the first million. That's the hardest one.
I just live on
make.
what I make past that million, and I get by.
Can I just say that knowing what I know now makes me much more likely to watch your video, because I know you've got like some skin in this game.
Yeah.
Oh,
like this isn't one of those like YouTubers is like, yeah, I'm gonna do this project, maybe I'll finish. You're locked in.
I have to.
If I start on episode 1, there will be an episode 100 called "We're Done." Like because we're at it. It's got to happen, or there'll be a very sad in memoriam episode. I guess we could do that too.
Well, I could just do one of those episodes where I just sit down in front of the camera. I go,
it was all a lie.
Guys,
have a dog on screen with you.
At what point is the problem not yours, right? Like the cliche. Like if you owe $5,000, you have a problem. If you owe $5 million, the bank has a problem. Where are you on that scale? I don't know.
I have never had a car loan before. This is my first car loan. So every car that I bought, it's we started big. But anytime I ever bought a car, whether it's a car for the channel or whatever, I always bought it cash. Because I'm sort of a Dave Ramsey fan, but like whatever. It's I'm not down as far as he is down that path. But like honestly, I hate owing people money. I hate it so much. So it's always at the forefront of my mind. I don't just go, oh yeah, well, it's not my money. Like my number one priority is to make as much money as I can so I can pay this thing off as fast as I can. And then after that, like I can sell this thing for what I got it for if I wanted to. If I wanted to sell this to some rich dude that wanted to make furniture, it'd be worth at least that.
Have you considered that you might now become the guy if someone's got a supercar that's been damaged to like I could send it to that guy. He's the one that took that drowned McLaren and brought it back to life.
Of course, but I'd never do any work for anybody else because I'm no good at that. I can't imagine being on the hook for somebody else's $1 million anything. I wouldn't have anybody come to me with their 350Z, much less the McLaren. So I do this for myself. I do this just because I like learning and I like sharing it with people. But other than that, like you should not bring cars to me. That's not a good idea.
Damn.
Yeah, you're busy.
Yeah, you are.
A little bit, yeah.
You got a lot on your plate. That is so much more expensive than I could have imagined this process would be.
Honestly, yeah. I'm flabbergasted. That's a big project. Like, if you tell me those numbers about a house you were building, I would be like, damn, that's gonna be a big fucking house, huh? 85 a month,
big car.
So this car,
tiny car,
exactly.
Like this tall.
Yeah. So this car was, before I got it, this car was supposed to be the record holder for price on one of these things. So it had 315 miles on it. It had basically delivery miles. So it went up on auction, and I think it no-sailed at 1.6, and the guy bought it for $2 million. He had it for 10 days, and then the storm hit. And then that's it. And then that's all she wrote. So the car had 315 miles, and like I like to say 500 nautical yards.
Yeah.
It still does.
It's the fastest moving McLaren in water ever.
Over water. It was a pretty good boat for a little bit, like it has a carbon
before the
tub.
fire.
So, before the electrical fire. No, but like it was okay. It has a carbon tub. It kind of floated a little bit, and then the water got in and it wasn't so good anymore.
And from the very beginning, your intention was to, because all right, so I have a rudimentary knowledge of restoring cars and building cars. I would be like, McLaren stuff, everything in here is so expensive. Let's just put some Chevrolet shit on the inside.
Yeah.
Let's just take a Corvette drivetrain and drop it in here. Like that would be my first move because I can go get everything off a shelf and just plug it in,
Yeah. Like, so with me, that was, it's always an option to be like, all right, we're going to turn the back end of this thing into a Honda Civic. But like, I am really big on theming, and it would be a disservice to people if they didn't see that car, come back either as good as it once was or better than it once was. And it's really hard to convince people that you're going to make things better when the car is already so good and the car was so messed up when I got it. Yeah. So they're just doubting me on both fronts. So I think if we could get the car down the path to where it like runs and drives, and then not only that, it is now faster and more agile and looks better and all that stuff, then I think we have a compelling story. But, me putting in like a Corvette drivetrain, like it's fine to get the car down the road. It wouldn't be enjoyable. It would be like, it wouldn't be, a McLaren P1. It would just be a Chevy Corvette in a kit car,
Exactly. But it would be easy.
It would be easier. So there's whenever I see you like rebuilders on YouTube, they fall into a few different categories. So the first category is they do these rebuilds to be YouTube done, meaning that you don't see the gauge cluster when they turn this thing on. When they turn this thing on, it lights up like a Christmas tree. Every single warning light is on, and they'll have airbag warning lights and stability control and blah, blah, blah. This thing's crab walking down the road because they didn't have it aligned. But it looks on camera, it's like a movie car. On camera, it's totally okay. It's,
like Pit My Ride. It's all,
yes,
it's all style, no substance.
Exactly. So, when you find out like, oh, what these cars are actually like, oh my God, I wouldn't. That thing's a death trap. But you have other people, and hopefully I try to go more into this camp. But it's like, for me, I hate having warning lights on the dash. I hate knowing that there's something wrong with the car. Like it'll bug me, to the end of the earth. So every single car I have, like I'll take it to a show. I'll take it to, the SEMA show, which is like this really big gathering of aftermarket parts. It's this giant thing in Vegas. And every year I bring a car there. I want people to go see it. You can scrutinize it. You can just look inside and see what kind of work I do. And, and we actually drive these cars, and these cars don't, they drive perfectly normally. They're not, they don't have any weird driving characteristics. I let other people drive them on tracks, stuff like that, where they're actually performing the way they should. We put them on dynos, things like that. So if the car does blow up, you'll see it,
Yeah.
I like that. That's really cool that you do a good job. I'd also be okay if you didn't and you were honest. And I'm thinking of Rich Rebuilds. Like a lot of his stuff, he's got idiot lights going off everywhere. And he's like, yeah, I would never give this car to anyone else.
Yeah. So Rich is a really good friend of mine. He's an amazing guy. So oh my God. I don't know if he wants me telling this story, but I mean, it was in one of his videos, so he probably should. So we went to go buy a McLaren for him. Like he found a McLaren that was in South Florida. And South Florida is the exact place you do not want to go buy a car, especially a McLaren. So South Florida, we get there, and it's like this compound in the hood, like the hood. There was barbed wire. There's armed guards there. And then we get in, and there's this dude. Apparently he's the owner or the owner's son. He has a guy following him with a giant freaking carbine, just walking around. This place looks like a third world country. I'm sorry, developing country. And and then like we see the car, and I'm there. He brought me along because I know a few things about McLarens, and I had my McLaren diagnostic. The car wouldn't start, and I was like, hey, I bet we can get this thing to start, if we just code a few things. So I'm standing there, like I get in the car, and it's right next to the men's room, which is the door wide open. It smells like, piss men's and room. Shit. It just smells like it. Exactly. Men's room. And we have this car that should have been $200,000, and it was the most insane thing ever. We actually got it, end up getting the car running. We got it on the trailer, and then on the way out, we probably saw 15, 20 hookers on the same street. So it was like it's stuff like that is great.
That explains the $85,000 a month. Now I know where it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like. These are the kinds of adventures you get into when you buy, really crappy cars for YouTube, and you can't really put that all on camera. But it was an insane story.
So this guy was wealthy enough to live, I assume wherever he wanted, since he had a $200,000 car, and he lived like right next to a men's room in the hood.
Yes. So he had a business that would take these cars. Like, so we were surrounded by other we were surrounded by other exotic cars like Lamborghini Urus, like that SUV or whatever. He had like 3 of them. There's another McLaren. There's a Ferrari. And he would get these cars from Copart or whatever salvage lot, and then he would export them. And when you export things tend, paperwork tends to go missing, and the laws surrounding rebuilds, they're probably not a little less stringent. So things like that. But that was the sort of business that he ran, and he had to have armed security 24/7. So I don't know. Take.
You made me think of the potential for scamming in that world. Like, do you know any stories of someone like paying hundreds of thousands for a car and then it arrives and it is what you described earlier? Like, this is a Corvette in a fucking Bugatti shell. So and there's no recourse.
Yes and no. I mean, that you don't really get catfished with cars. Like, sometimes you get, people buy cars and they're like, oh my God, this car's a piece of crap. But you could do that with a Honda Civic. What happens with hundreds of thousands of dollars, when it's when you have exotic cars and you're at that price point, is that people will find out that you're looking for a car, and then they'll match up with somebody else that's selling that car. They will copy that listing, pretend they're the seller, and then basically talk as an intermediary to both parties, thinking so that way the guy can go see the car. Like this just happened at a dealership to a friend of mine, and he was like, "All right, well, I'm going to go to the dealership. I'm going to check out the car. Car checks out. It's it's a good price." Then he goes back to negotiate, and then he finds out something's wrong. He's like, Was there an Irish guy, in this equation? He's like, no, we don't have any Irish people working here. It's like okay, well, I don't know. The guy I talked to was very, very heavy Irish accent. And then, it turns out the guy was, offering the car for like 15% less, but he was like, all right, I need you to wire me $150,000 and then you can come get the car. But he would have wired this total stranger $150,000 and the car's not even his. So, I don't know how many of those you can do without getting, murdered. But
probably not a lot with that kind of money.
Better have armed guards 24/7 if you do that.
Yeah. And there's a reason that guy was doing that from Ireland. Like a little bit of safety there, probably.
Kyle, you're on Reddit. Surely you've heard of the surge pricing controversy.
I have. I saw Wendy's immediately be like, "Whoa, we're not doing that. Stop burning our restaurants down."
So the idea was Wendy's wanted to smooth out their demand, so they were going to raise prices at, say, lunch, dinner, whenever they have their big spikes in business, and I guess in theory lower their prices at 3 p.m. or 10 p.m. or when people are eating less.
Probably not. Yeah.
That's the trouble. Like Wendy's was like, this has all been misunderstood. This isn't some big scheme to raise our prices, but was it?
It is a scheme to raise their prices. And they framed it in the lowest IQ, dumbest possible way of just frame it as like make items that are not that popular that always get added on, make those a pittance cheaper during like lower traffic hours and frame it around that. And
they could have done that. They could, instead of saying we're raising our prices at peak hours, they could say we're lowering our prices at off-peak hours. And
I don't know.
But apparently they're not.
So, I don't know how any.
Well, just lie.
Just lie about it.
Kelly, you're in marketing. They didn't teach you this.
I genuinely don't know how any fast food restaurant stays open when there's a Chick-fil-A within a mile or two of it.
Yeah,
because I ate a Chick-fil-A today, and it was I had it delivered. It was $11 like for a chicken sandwich meal, and it was huge. I didn't eat the whole fucking thing. There was like chicken hanging out of both ends of the sandwich, big meaty giant chicken breast. Like what? Wendy's has these dirty little, like, they look frozen patties that look stamped out like oh, this is the one that's shaped like a weird rectangle. Oh, okay, I've seen one. This is a good one. Wendy's. Their chicken
you said Wendy's. You didn't
pales in comparison to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is so much better. It's so much better.
I want to jump in on this because I would argue that Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich, the number 6, the thing I get 90% of the time, is good enough that it belongs right there on the Chick-fil-A menu.
No,
right? I think
I don't know. No.
Okay, I'm alone on this.
Chick-fil-A
I grew
spicy
up with the
sandwich
number
is much
That's a
six.
better.
spicy take.
I grew up with the number
All right.
6. Okay, I remember when it was like $6. Okay,
Okay. I hear.
I love the number 6.
Let me finish up. For me, I think the number 6 is right there adjacent to a typical Chick-fil-A sandwich. However, the experience is different. I feel like when I'm at Chick-fil-A, this is like the freaking Michelin restaurant of fast food.
It is.
The people there are so sweet. Are all the girls blonde? I go to Wendy's and I'm like, how do you ring me up with those long fucking 6-inch fingernails?
Yeah, with I went to Popeyes like 1 month ago.
Racist.
Yeah.
I went to Popeyes like 1 month ago, and they did all but be like, "Welcome to Popeyes, fuck you." Like the tone in their voice, I'm like I can't believe I'm being such a bother to these people by being in I came here for food. I'm
so sorry for asking for dinner at dinner time.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's
if the people at Chick-fil-A, if they were like, look, you may be familiar with their ad campaign that has the cows and they're writing "Eat More Chicken."
Yeah.
If they came out with a burger restaurant and they had a whole commercial where those cows and where the chickens were coming back on the cows, and they're like, we got to do something about and now they got Chick-fil-A burgers. I don't know what you call them, burger filet, whatever the fuck it's called. They would ruin McDonald's day because they're the same price. It's the Big Mac is the same fucking price as that delicious spicy chicken sandwich they have at Chick-fil-A.
No,
they have their
Big
own
Mac's
spicy
always
chicken
been a
sandwich,
scam.
Woody. It's
They've
incredible.
always-
It's so good. They'll put 3 different kinds of fucking cheese on that bitch. They got pepper jack cheese, Woody. You can't fuck with pepper jack cheese.
Dude,
They don't
pepper
put
jack. They
any
got Colby. Yeah.
They have
No
pepper
sausage.
jack at Chick-fil-A. I'm sorry, at Wendy's sometimes.
And they've got
the American
Asiago.
people have never
What
been
even
more
is that? That's commie
manipulated.
cheese.
The American public has never been more manipulated and hoodwinked than by the Big Mac. Like they threw an extra bun in there, and people are like, "Look how tall it is." Like, it's disgusting. It's vile.
Have you ever tried to eat just the meat patty from a Big Mac? It's so nasty.
Yeah.
It is so. It doesn't taste like anything. You need to slather it in sauce. One of the things that I look at when I think, all right, is this a good restaurant or not? Is if other people from other countries, when they come to America, like what do they think about these things? So I have a bunch of people, friends that come from the UK. The number one thing, as soon as they land and they start getting to work, they're like, we need Chick-fil-A. We absolutely need Chick-fil-A because they don't have it there. They have Wendy's, they have McDonald's, and they never ask for Wendy's or McDonald's. They're like, we're eating Chick-fil-A every day. So it's like if aliens landed, they're like, this is clearly the objective truth. This is much better than
all the Wendy's people to work camps.
I'm not huge on conspiracy theories, but I want to know the real reason Chick-fil-A is closed on Sunday. Tell me that's not part of the fucking bit. Are you seriously respecting Jesus with this decision to close Chick-fil-A?
Who does that?
Sunday?
I mean, honestly.
That doesn't sound believable to me.
Their founders are
those
Christian,
fuckers
so
are doing the books or fucking marketing. They're working on Sundays. I just know it.
Dude, do you know how much money they would make if they were open on Sundays? They would be the biggest post-church lunch spot in the country by orders of magnitude. They are leaving tens of millions every week on the table by not being open Sunday.
And the proof of that is there for you to see, Woody. You talk about the people who work there, the way they look, they're more expensive. They pay their workers more. If you're going to get a blonde girl with khakis who's pretty to stand outside wearing, have you seen them outside wearing that rain outfit? So
they have kiosks.
So for those of you who don't have Chick-fil-A's, or maybe you just don't have banging Chick-fil-A's, here in Atlanta, home of Chick-fil-A, these pretty girls will be outside in the rain wearing this clear, like it's not a raincoat. It's like it turns them almost into a kiosk.
Yeah.
and they're taking your order way out in the parking lot, 18 spots away from the window where
while cosplaying as a condom.
Yeah, they're handing you a fucking iPad and you're figuring everything out, and they're so polite and sweet the whole way through. Like what he said, oh, do you need any sauces with that? Any extra sauces? Or how much are they? Oh, sweetie, how many sauces you want? You're fucking great. Try that shit at Burger King. Have it your way, my ass.
Yeah,
okay?
you'll have a gun in your face. Like,
Whoops.
It's awkward.
Did y'all see the thing where they used AI to make Hitler speak English?
Yes.
Dude, I'm convinced now. Dude. All right, it all makes sense now. We understand. That dude's compelling. He doesn't. First of all, in this little speech, he doesn't say anything about like exterminating people or like war or anything. He's just like, I was there for you. Will you be there for me? I've worked for you tirelessly, day in, day out, right here, doing the work. Are you gonna be? Listen to it, Taylor. It's captivating.
Everyone should listen to this man.
Everyone should listen.
Dude, it helps me understand because when I don't know the words, Adolf just seems like too enthusiastic, batshit insane, etc. But when they do it in English, and this video that Kyle's talking about, it's Adolf. They used AI to make it in English, but he brings at least something very close to the same intensity and like style that he did in German, I presume. And I try not to bring up politics every 3 minutes, but it seemed Trumpy to me. It was all,
Absolutely,
dude, get on my team. Get behind me. They're coming after me. I do this for you. Will you do things for me? And I was like, this feels Trumpy.
Let's see. You put me in the middle here. Do I defend Adolf or do I defend Donald? Adolf. See, that's not fair. So that's not
easy
fair
decision.
Because Hitler served in World War One. So when he's saying I was there for you and there for you, will you be there? For, he's got some ground to stand on. Unlike Trump, although Trump couldn't stand on the ground.
Venereal disease that was his Vietnam.
Oh my God! There was a real syphilis wave going through Manhattan that year.
Trump quote. Trump was like, avoiding VD was my Vietnam or something like that.
That's a good line. I don't know. To me, saying that someone like skipped out on Vietnam I'm like, good. Great, good for you. Like I don't think of them in any sort of negative way at all. Honestly, I think of the people who like signed up and were like, let's do it as some sort of robot, because in that time you had songs like It Ain't Me, right? Like I'm not no millionaire's son. It's like the lyrics of that are all about like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Like they're sending the poor to go fight this war. They wouldn't send their kids. They wouldn't go fight in this war. You're expendable assets. Like
at least today, the poor self-select their way into the wars. They say
exactly. We pay them with college.
The army's better than McDonald's, and those are my only skill sets.
We tip them well. That's exactly what happened.
They get to keep their guns sometimes, maybe. No, and then they get great health care afterward, right?
Yeah. Sometimes they have homes when they come back. That's cool.
Yeah. Did y'all see? They end up homeless, and we say no more help. Sorry. There's a Honduran man at the border that really needs that hotel room. So we can't.
All the girls.
You smell like poop. I'm not going to give you.
Girls who are too chubby to be strippers. It's army time, baby.
Damn, that's true. There's a lot of stout gals, and they make good truck drivers. I'm gonna tell you what. IED what?
Do we need a big bitch battalion?
They heard IED and thought it was IUD and signed up.
Actually,
that's awful.
One thing I was.
What are we in the golden age of right now?
Porn.
I get, but it's porn. Not free.
It's all of it's free. Every single porn is free.
Oh, because I thought that, like you were sort of saying, like the OnlyFans, the Fansly, the freaking Red Gifts or whatever Reddit puts their shit on, like every girl is basically a minor league porn star now.
Yes.
When I was young, there was this fear, like, oh my God, what if your picture gets on the internet? First of all, there are so many pictures on the internet of naked girls now. They won't find yours. Second, if they do, well, everyone has naked pictures on the internet. What difference does it make?
Right.
Like, so it's fine. But it's not all free.
Yeah, but most of it is, and it's functionally free. I mean, even if it's not free, there's ways to find it if you really want to. And I mean, even if it's not expensive. There's no, it's still going to be $10 or something if you really want
These
it.
OnlyFans chicks need to learn that if they want my money, $3 tops.
$3.
Yeah, $3.
It's the tips. It's the tips because they make less than minimum wage. You see, they need the tips to survive, Woody.
See, I don't ever talk to them. I don't ever do any custom kind of anything. But I will be like, well, I do want to see you're naked. How much? Yeah. I will pay up to $3.
How much? Yeah.
I mean, the vast majority of them make
curious.
like no money whatsoever, right?
Yeah, but it's just like
YouTube,
you know?
right?
Yeah.
You know, the top make all the money. What was I going to say? Oh, you know what my golden age pick is? Television. Not the shows. That's what you're thinking. I mean the hardware. What you can get for like $400 now is outrageous. And if you double that budget, good fucking God, you have like a movie theater.
Yeah.
That's true.
Sure.
Yeah, TVs are
we're
cheap.
talking about what we're in the golden age of, Kyle. And Freddie said porn. I said television, but the hardware, you know, just how great TVs have become for the money.
Both very accurate.
I don't know if you have anything off the top of your head.
Man, we are getting to see. There's a lot of war going on right now. I wonder.
Golden
I would
War.
bet that. I would bet right now.
GoPro footage is
like the bombs, the amount of bombs that are being dropped like per day right now. I wonder. I would like to see like a graph of that, like bombs dropped monthly since World War II, because I love that comparison.
Is artillery a bomb?
No, you have to count it as
okay. How about that? All right, yeah, explosives used in conflict by TNT. Tons of TNT over the years. Like I feel like right now the world is popping off everywhere. I keep seeing shit in Lebanon. Israel's still going hard in the paint.
What's the one we don't talk about? Yemen, maybe? Who's Saudi Arabia at war with?
Yemen.
Oh, everybody. Iran.
Okay. There's Azerbaijan and Armenia.
To just put it simply, Iran. Iran is who they're really at war with, because
and everything else is proxy.
Everything else is proxy or funding. Like Iran is propping all of the baddies up. Everywhere.
Yeah, the Houthis in Yemen are funded by Iran, and the Saudis hate Iran.
When those 2 Navy SEALs fell off that boat and drowned a few months ago, that was them intercepting a boat that had Iranian missiles going to the Houthis or someone. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what that was about.
You think that like more bombs are going off now than like World War II? Like aggregately? There's no way. No way.
It made me wonder.
It like per bomb, like I just don't know. I'd like to know. I don't think that. No.
What about?
But I would like to see the comparison.
Like
maybe more per. If we get it a per capita,
bombs per capita. I think
bombs per capita, maybe more.
The amount of artillery they're using in the Ukraine conflict or war, or whatever, is outrageous. It's a ton, and it actually is one of my frustrations where Ukrainian is. I get it. They're both dug in. There's minefields. It's hard to move. I get it. However, it does sort of seem like the soldiers on both sides are like, let's just safely lob artillery shells from 2 miles away for the next 2 years at each other and call that good enough.
Cowards.
Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, if I was there, folks, I would be rushing the front lines and winning this war. That's what I would do.
I've seen Woody play Call of Duty. Let me just say this. When Woody plays Domination, he gets on the flag, goddammit. You won't see him back there in a trench, in a tree. No, with a scope. What the fuck for? His enemy's 5 feet away because he's up there on B-Dom, baby.
Shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. There are YouTube videos where it's like the best nade spots in.
You heard it here. Woody's got his.
You can throw it right through this fucking weird ass.
There's T-Bar jumping from windowsill and awning.
Woody's kind of a classic American hero type. He goes by a very simple motto. Very simple motto: has gun, will travel. Okay, so you let him know, he'll have that 870 wingmaster out there on the front lines. I was the Marine. It's the 870 Marine Magnum. Yes.
I do have that.
Yeah, he'll be out there shooting grenades out of the air.
Conflict, I throw my throwing knife in the air.
3.
One of these days it'll hit. It's gonna be dope.
You just run and you just in your vision see the like yes.
Can you imagine like the Ukrainian like hardened troops when you throw your knife like at the beginning of the fight, and they're just like, but then later on after the conflict they find a Russian who's been stabbed and there's holy shit. They just all salute you as you walk through them and retrieve your blade. You wipe the blood off all cool like you carve another mark.
Yeah, right. No, it's one.
You get out a smaller knife and you carve onto that.
Even smaller.
They call him the Blade Master. That's the Mexican group that's there. That's not a Ukrainian accent at all.
there's a
Yeah.
Mexican group.
Seriously, though, like, I don't know
It's a
jack shit about
coalition
war,
of free
but it
countries.
It
Yeah.
does seem like they prefer to fight at a distance sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah,
I notice when they get close, they usually get shot. Yeah, even if you don't think the Palestinians, I don't know what a Palestinian even fucking is exactly.
someone
I don't
from
know.
Palestine.
Find it on a map.
And you
And-
can on any atlas prior to 1947.
You see my point then. So, but all I know is this, man, did you see the one today? Did you see the latest article about Israel? What the articles all say is that the Israelis gunned down a crowd of over 100 people who I guess were stampeding because, you know, they were there for food and they were starving. So they machine gunned down 100 people. That's what the articles read.
I saw hundreds, but who knows the number?
I
did see the video.
why Biden doesn't threaten or actually pull support. Be like, all right, this is fucking ridiculous. You know, you are bombing civilians. You are sniping regular people, nurses in hospitals. Too much.
Dude, I saw a Call of Duty montage
over our political system.
I got recommended a video about Israeli snipers that was like a Call of Duty montage of them blowing children's knees off. It was like the Israeli sniper is Hamas's worst nightmare, and I'm like, I don't like this video.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Hamas has a lot of nightmares right now. It's a problem. And
They were like,
it was
they're
Hamas.
like, Israel has hundreds of snipers in buildings right now, and I was like, oh my god, like
I feel differently if what you just said was 100% accurate. Not that you got it wrong, but
yeah.
they're not just shooting Hamas. They're shooting anybody. Anyone who's in their fucking crosshairs that's not Jewish, they kill. And that's the issue.
Yeah, it's ghastly.
Collective punishment. Nah. But
It's like Kid Rock style diplomacy. I don't know if you heard him on Rogan, but he was like, they got our hostages. We should just start bombing. Kill 30,000, 40,000 civilians a day. Give them back.
I don't care what that retard thinks about anything.
What? He's Kid Rock. How do
Yeah.
you not care what Kid Rock thinks?
All right, he can go back to fucking wasting
Taylor.
Bud Light. That idiot.
Yeah, like drink Bud Light
fucking
again.
fool.
He drinks it
He has a
again.
good song.
He had a
What is
Bud
it
Light in his
called?
hand when he
Summertime?
said the words I just said.
I bet he did.
I literally
Stands for
did.
nothing.
What did he have?
A Bud Light in his hand. He was on Rogan. They're like, they both had tons of Bud Light. I get like
They're
like
Bud
drinking-
positive again now?
Well, I don't think I don't.
I don't know. I know I saw Kid Rock doing something with Bud Light, like a sponsorship.
Oh, for
right?
sure. I don't know if it's sponsored, but you would imagine that you don't get Joe Rogan and Kid Rock to sit there and have their podcast surrounded by cans of Bud Light while drinking Bud Light, unless it's sponsored. But maybe so. Maybe it's a big inside joke. And
I know
I'm
Bud
just,
Light's with the UFC.
Oh, well then there you go.
Can you find a
Well, is
picture of
that
it, Zach?
enough?
Because
Would Joe Rogan do it on this podcast?
That seems
just 'cause
like
they
enough.
bought the UFC.
Like, I would wager so, but I don't know. I know
I
that
said
like
bought the
Shane
UFC
Shane
sponsored.
Gillis, he likes Bud Light, and so
Yeah.
if he's on Joe Rogan, like why would Joe not get Bud Light for him? Not that like fucking Bud Light's different than really Miller Lite.
maybe I saw an AI photograph, but the one I saw was them surrounded by cans of Bud Light in almost a comical fashion.
I
Zach,
saw a
can you
clip
find it?
of Shane Gillis, and they were like drinking on the show,
I meant Kid
and there
Rock.
were a lot of
That
cans.
might have been AI because I saw him talking about bomb, and I didn't see any Bud Light, but I'm not
Oh.
sure enough to say you're wrong.
Yeah, I could be misremembering
wrong.
it, but that's definitely what the mental image I have is. I'm just wondering why they're drinking that shitty ass beer. It's just
They must
such shitty
must have
beer.
been doing a drinking contest.
So that's Shane.
Dude, there's
and
nothing wrong with
Ari.
light beer.
No one said there's something wrong with light beer. I
Yeah.
only drink light beer.
I think it's
I
the
don't like
backtracking
Bud
that
Light.
we're talking about.
Oh no, I just think it's a
I-
shitty beer. In general.
I thought he
Bud
was
Light
talking
in
about-
particular. It is.
Oh,
the
I think
worst
I'm
light
wrong.
beer.
It's no
Kyle just
worse
has an
than
issue
Coors
with Bud
Light,
Light.
Michelob Light, any other light beer.
It is-
Bud
it
Light
is
is
like-
the worst.
the one that is the worst is Coors Light. There's
I'm
something
halfway with
something
both of you.
weird about
The
That's
Coors Light.
problem
Colorado
is
Kool-Aid right there. I enjoy
They
it.
all taste like beer,
Mm.
and that's bad.
Yeah. But if you got to drink one, Miller Lite is less calories than Bud Light.
Okay.
And so pretty easy decision there. And they really do all taste the same, except there's something weird about Maybe I have a bad memory of Coors Light, but I feel like the last time I had it, I was like, there's like a weird aftertaste here.
Nah, there's a good song about Coors Light. They call it Colorado Kool-Aid. And he's talking about how his Mexican friend had a switchblade and he cut this guy's ear off. It's great.
Well, you
story.
like the Mexican beers anyway.
I want to go back to that.
delicious.
I didn't bring it up, but I was so happy